Oak Glen, California. A small, bustling community of about 600 people. Most known for all things apple. Visited in the fall by many. Some call it the New England of California. With the sound of a peacock here and there. Time just seems to stand still. And then, the unexpected happened.
Wow.
Flames. Fire. Fear. The El Dorado outbreak put life to halt in Oak Glen, but one resident wanted to keep her animals safe without worry. Clearwater Farm and Animal Rescue, a nonprofit organization where owner Karen DeMowitt's passion for animals is exhibited. Tell me how you came upon to raise and take care of animals.
Well, the rescue itself started when we purchased the property in 2013. I'd done dog rescue for years before, but we were in a smaller community down in Yucaipa. So dogs were okay, pigs and horses not so much. So once we came up here and we saw the lot size and the ability to kind of expand on the rescue that we'd done before, Clearwater Farm and Animal Rescue was kind of born at that point. But I'd always had horses and animals as a kid, so it kind of came naturally that I would share my home with that many more, just maybe not 60, 70 at a time, but that's kind of how it turned out.
Yes, it's all the love, layers and layers of love.
Yeah.
But there'd always been a love of animals in our family, and I came from a long line of animal lovers.
Karen tells me more about her genuine love and affection for animals in need of help.
It's, I think, part of my DNA. It's obviously my driving force. It's kind of what keeps me functional from sunup to sundown. A lot of the cases that we take in are severe neglect and abuse cases. Many of them have had abusive lives up to this point, and they've either been used for breeding or they were used for, some of the horses in the show competition world. Some of the pigs had been raised for slaughter, so quite a few of them had rough starts. So to be able to come here and have a peaceful existence until it's time for them to pass over, then that's what we can offer them, and I think that's my greatest point of satisfaction.
That sense of peace would be interrupted due to a danger no one saw coming. The El Dorado Fire, perpetuated by pyrotechnics from a gender reveal party, ignited the surrounding landscape and quickly blazed terror.
And when we would sit here and watch the fire burn, there was a mountain, a wall of flames that were a good 100 feet high. It was epic. Apocalyptic, I think, is probably the best word a lot of us were using. To see fire and ash and burning bits of trees and things. We've had nothing like this for decades. In fact, my understanding is that these mountains haven't burnt in 50, 60 years.
Evacuations were looming, but Karen needed help with transporting all of her animals. That's when the community stepped in as unsung heroes.
They are probably the support system that does not receive the credit that they deserve. So they are the folks that are always there for you when times are great, and they're the first ones knocking at your door offering help when things go sideways. I was deeply humbled to see as many of them come out and show support for us when we needed it the most.
Eager to learn about these heroes, I drove down to the Yucaipa Animal Placement Society, also known as YAPS. There, I met with Ginger Bright, who firsthand rescued helpless animals from the fire. Ginger was ambitious to help her community.
We didn't have a good social media page that people could post for lost animals versus those that found animals in one page. So I did create an animal evacuations page that could help people reunite their pets with those that found, or if anybody needed to help with any medical from animals that were burned in the fire. Also, so that if anybody needed short-term, long-term fostering housing for their animals until they could find someplace else to live.
You work out here in Yucaipa, so why go into a place such as Oak Glen to rescue animals?
You know, I've always been an animal lover. I've tried to save everything all my life. Being up in Wildwood, I've come across, quite a few, injured wildlife and stuff that I had always tried to help when I was a young child. So instead of just dedicating it to small animals versus large animals, I dedicate it to just our surrounding areas. So I'll pick up on Cherry Valley, Beaumont, Banning, wherever our nearest fires are. I always in the back of my head know where's my options so I can get myself out of there, because of course I don't want to die doing this. But yeah, going into it, those things are in my head, but the animals, I know how frightened they are. I've done it myself. I've had these horses, freak out on me. So the more I can bring my calmness energy, down into them and being able to work with the animals and get them out of there, it does, make for don't want to say pleasant, but an easier procedure for all involved.
I wanted to know more about individuals like Ginger, who willingly put their lives on hold for others. So I head down to Cherry Valley to visit the Far From Perfect Mustang Rescue, a ranch a little over 5 acres large. Their goal consists of 4 R's: rescue, rehabilitate, retrain, and rehome any horses in need. Joel Sappingfield owns the rescue, and the ranch has been his family's pride since 1952. However, in times of need, Joel and his wife Annette are only one call away.
We've been responding to fire response for 4 years now?
Yeah.
4 years we've been going into fires. A lot of it's sitting and waiting. You sit with your horse trailer hooked up as close to the fires as you can, waiting for that call that somebody needs help, and then you go.
That call came from Karen.
Karen didn't wait. She called for help immediately as soon as she felt threatened, and we immediately got our animals out. So, we did what I hope anybody would do for us and anybody would do for anybody else. So, I know it's hard, honey. It's hard to see it burn. It's hard. We sat between the Dorado Fire and the Apple Fire. We sat up for almost 2 weeks watching the mountains.
Joel was struck with emotion as he took the mountains personally.
It breaks my heart to see the damage that was done. It breaks my heart to see the ranches, the forest land, the places that I knew when I was growing up as a child that I rode will never be seen again. It'll take 100 years for it to go back anywhere near to what it was. And most people, again, oh, well, we live in a city, we live in the town, we don't need to worry about that. Unfortunately, they may be right. They're city people, they don't know.
I didn't know. To truly understand the extent of the damages, I went on a drive with Karen as she showed me the remains. We drive a mile down west. Karen takes me to the El Dorado Ranch Park, which the fire infamously is named after.
So point of origin was literally right here, right where you see and as the fire ceased. So all of it, it's all gone.
Although it's been over a month since the fire first sparked embers, it was astonishing. It left me speechless. It was simply a sight to see. To think a gender reveal party set fire to the light is unforgivable. Despite the grim reality upon Oak Glen, Karen calls it her gem.
I wouldn't turn my back on Oak Glen just because it's difficult to live here. It's always been difficult, whether it be snow or heavy traffic because of tourism or the colder climate. I think it's a beautiful place, and you take the good with the bad. It's our home, it's our community. So you have a small enclave of agriculture that also offers tourism, because there is no money in agriculture unless you can add tourism into it, at least to be had in California. California doesn't make it easy for agriculture or for small business. So to be able to marry those two things together in this microclimate and in this sort of, it's a respite. There's nothing like this anywhere. There are families that drive hours sometimes to come and do this annually, and they've brought generations of family. There's really nothing like Oak Glen really anywhere around here. Certainly very few places like this in California, and there's nothing like it. So I'm privileged to be able to call it my home. We're beyond fortunate that it was saved, and I see why millions of people trek up here annually to experience it.